Let's talk some Texans. The Houston Texans, back-to-back division champ, also won a playoff game in each of the last 2 years. The Texans, however, are not resting on their laurel. They fired Bobby Slowick, they brought in Nick Caserio, and we knew the Texans, in order to take that next step, they have to make improvement on the offense. Now I know their defense, there's some struggle there, but it's mostly the offense. You know why? Because cjstroud, I believe he was sacked 52 times, second most in the NFL last year, behind that offensive line. They trade away Laremy Tunsil, they cut Shaq Mason, they trade away Kenyon Green, and here they bring in these new lines, right? Cam Robinson, Laken Tomlinson, some veteran guys, but they also drafted Ariante Ursary. Now, again, what they would do, and they could do this, where they start him at right tackle and then play Blake Fisher at left tackle, but essentially, and eventually, I would not be shocked if we get towards the middle of the season where we see Ursary move over, play left tackle for the foreseeable future. But the Houston Texans, again, didn't just upgrade their offensive line. And this is where I think Nick Caserio deserved a lot of credit. He traded back, and he was able to get Jaden Higgins, a receiver out of Iowa State. Really a great ball receiver, ball hawk receiver, great down the field. He was also able to get Jalen Noel, his teammate at Iowa State. Now, Nick Caserio, for all the work that he has done since coming to the Houston Texans and fixing the mess that Brian Gaine, Bill O'Brien, they messed up the cap. He came in, and now the Houston Texans, along with the Miko Ryans, but specifically Nick Caserio, has done an incredible job of fixing this team. And every year, this year, I think this last year, he didn't keep any of his picks. He always moved back. If he sees an opportunity, he always jumped forward. If there's a player they really like on the board, he always grabbed the best player available. And that's where you have to say he separates himself from the rest of the league, right? Because specifically with the Texans organization, we've seen general manager in the past with Rick Smith, with Brian Gaine to a lesser extent, and then Bill O'Brien. Now somebody in the comment section tell me, why did Bill O'Brien gain the title to be the GM of the Texans? That was not deserved. Yes, he won the division title, but why did he get more responsibility? And now we know why. He even went on to say it. He just wanted to coach the player on the field. He did not want to deal with the personnel side of it, right? The handing out contract. And so that's why he did not do that well. He messed up the Jadeveon Clowney. He way overpaid for Laremy Tunsil. I know Tunsil became an all-pro tackle. But again, during that time, he really botched a lot of the things that a well-seasoned general manager would not have done. And that's where Caserio deserves a lot of credit. But this excitement, this new year, as we are seeing the heat wave that's coming across this country, we know football season is right around the corner. Teams are now in mini camps, and what we see is the Houston Texans, as they're gearing up for training camp, what their new offense is going to look like. And today, I have for you, like I said, as you're watching, thank you for staying to this part of the show. If you haven't hit the like button, make sure you do that now. Also, if you haven't subscribed my channel, subscribe it now before I tell you the breaking news coming into Houston Texans. Today, the Texans just announced they have signed Nick Chubb, running back from the Cleveland Browns, to a one-year contract to team him up with Joe Mixon. This is incredible news if you're a Texans fan, because what we see with Joe Mixon, and he's really found life now that he's no longer with Burrow. There's some great things in Cincinnati, but since he moved on to Houston, and with cjstroud, Nico Collins really rejuvenate him in his career. Can they do the same for Nick Chubb? I absolutely believe they can. Because now the Texans not only have Nico Collins, they have Dalton Schultz, they have Jaden Higgins, which they can run him on the outside, and Jalen Noel, along with Christian Kirk, is still a young receiver right, that used to play for the Jaguars. He's now put into the slot along with Jalen Noel. They will open up so many things for cjstroud and this offense that's going to be incredible to watch. So great signing by Nick Caserio, able to get Nick Chubb to come to Houston pretty much on an insane-laden contract, because the last 2 years, he only played 10 games. If he's able to stay on the field and contribute for the Houston Texans, he may essentially give him a contract to go out of Houston. But while he's here in Houston, he has every incentive. If you're a Texans fan, again, Nick Chubb has every incentive to play well on this deal if he want to get another deal, another big deal down the line. So we'll see what happened and how Nick Caserio formed this offense. But a lot of exciting things happen in the NFL. Specifically, also, if you're a Steelers fan, I'm not going to forget about you, right? You signed Aaron Rodgers. We'll see what he does. A lot of people think Aaron Rodgers over the hill, right? He doesn't have it anymore. We see what he does. But I will say this about Aaron Rodgers. He is going into a division that is very tough. There's no ifs and question buts about that, right? You have Joe Burrow and you have Lamar Jackson, right? But Aaron Rodgers now with DK Metcalf and Mike Tomlin need to figure out the situation with TJ Watt's contract, but we'll see what happened, how that all shakes out. But sticking with the Texans, a lot of things to be proud of with the Texans. They need to take that next step. That next step is what? Texans fans, you're watching, you can tell it with me. They need to get to the championship game. Patrick Mahomes keeps standing in their way. They improved the offense, right? They fixed the offensive line. Now we see how this line's going to shake out. They added Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, along with now Nick Chubb to go with the offense. They re-up, which I thought was very well deserved, for some of the defensive player, Petrie. And we'll see how this offense and defense play as we head into the regular season. But this year, like I said, a lot of excitement around the Houston Texans. Can they finally take that next step? And this is where I will credit DeMeco Ryans. He could easily stay with this coaching staff and see how they progress, right? Because again, he's going into his third year. Bobby Slowick, again, they won the division, back-to-back division champions. They also won a playoff game in each of the last 2 years. He could have said, I'll ride one more time or go one more time with Bobby Slowick. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. This team has the potential, and right now, Stroud is not on a big contract yet. He hasn't got the extension to make him one of the highest paid quarterback yet. So we still have him on the cheap. I want to maximize this window as long as possible. Here come Nick Caserio, a disciple of Sean McVay. Also, Caserio is familiarized with him during their time working together with Bill Belichick with the New England Patriots. Now he come here to Houston, he get to implement his offense. Caserio will be total in charge of the offense, so DeMeco Ryans can just focus on the defense and be the head coach of this football team. But like I said, I can't wait till the gridiron season starts. I know you can't wait either. As we get more breaking news, big trades, big free agent signing, breaking news, and we head into training camp. We see how all these teams shakes out. What big news are coming up around the league, any major trades, and we head toward the regular season, how the team going to play. But there's no question the Texans, again, will be one of the favorites to win. I think Vegas was so disrespectful. I think they ranked the Texans like 11th or 12th, somewhere right there. Very disrespectful. I put a couple of teams ahead of Texans. I don't think they're going to be better than Houston. Okay, the Texans have a good quarterback. They have the line. Let's see how the line does, but they have receivers. And the line can't do any worse, okay? When I say line, I mean the O-line. It can't do any worse. So the only way from here is up for the Houston Texans. So the defense will still be stout with Will Anderson and with the new Hunter hunting after the quarterback. And we know Texans in the South, we love our football. So let's see how the Texans does this year. Thank you for staying towards the end of the show. Like I said, make sure you give this video a thumbs up. Also, hit the bell notification so every time I upload new content, you are notified. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, do yourself a favor and smash the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.